Back at it. I got to mention we don't have Chris Thomason here in the front row anymore. I'm going to miss the New Balances, the Nike Monarchs, the sweaters. If any of you have, Olympic sweatshirts from 1996, feel free to bring them out. But he's Denver's to worry about now, it sounds like. And Dane, you got big shoes to fill, huge shoes to fill. So good luck. But good to be back and, in the facility around all the guys. I think the longer you play, the more you remember that being with your teammates, with your buddies, is such a great part of this job. And so it's been fun to see everybody again and laugh and just have fun doing it. It is difficult for that same reason to lose guys like Adam and Eric and Pat, because it's the same thing with them. You realize how much you enjoyed working with them, and they're all special players and special people and were big leaders for us. So it's tough to lose them, but I'm also encouraged by how many people we have back. I had texted Brian O'Neill right before free agency, feeling like, man, is this locker room going to look a lot different? And then to have Alex Madison back and Garrett Bradbury back and Greg Joseph and Depot and the list goes on Nick Mullins in the quarterback room. It was just great to kind of be able to have that consistency. Harrison Smith coming back, C.J. Ham. So that was really encouraging, and I think football so much is about continuity and chemistry, and when you constantly have turnover, it's hard to create that. And so when you feel like, I'm in my second or third year with people around me, that's really encouraging. And, the O-line, much the same way, to have that group together, the coaches in that room together, to feel like we can build on last year and have all had that shared experience, I think will really help. So now the focus goes to 2023. Getting us all going the right direction together. I think a big part of OTAs is creating the 2023 Vikings, knowing that we got new people like a Josh Oliver to get in the fold, to get them caught up, get them comfortable, and just build those relationships and build on what we did last year and start taking more steps in the right direction. So you can take any questions you have off of that.
How do you interpret all that's happened this offseason, your contract, and then also their interest in quarterback?
Yeah, I think, you're always looking to the future. You're always thinking about different options, and I think everybody's got to do their due diligence. And so, I'm looking forward to this year and wanting to, go out there and prove it again and do it again and play at the highest level I can. And that's really where my focus is.
Do you think this is about the guaranteed money deal and all the attention that it's gotten in since the end of the Super Bowl, and who's getting what, and why a guy should get it, and you're the first person to get total guaranteed money. Being in that position, can you talk about what we've gone through?
I haven't followed it as much as of late. I think everybody's got to do what's best for them, best for their situation, and it's different for everybody. And, it kind of comes down to what you want to prioritize. And I think that, a lot of guys, whether they have been some guarantees, all guaranteed, no guarantees, I think guys have signed good contracts for them and for their situation. And I think everybody's doing, what's best for their team and their situation.
What does the year two progression in the system look like for you?
Well, the big one is like today running plays on air. Last year, they had to, quote unquote, hold my hand to call the play. Or it was like, I don't even know how to say this play. When you call it, I can't see it in my head, so I can't call it. So to be able to, have the play come in and just boom, call two plays in the huddle, let's go. It's just night and day from last year. So you'd like to think that starting in a much further spot in May, it advances everything. To August, to September, you're just more comfortable. And if I was the only one who could say that, it wouldn't be quite as much of an advantage. I think the fact that it's the second time for Justin, it's the second time for KJ, for Brian O'Neill, on and on, that makes a meaningful difference. So it's nothing to make you think, we can just show up, second year it'll click. I think it's important to still have an edge in your work, but you can also take some encouragement in the fact that time on task together is good. And having somebody in my helmet for the second year in a row, I'm really encouraged by, because there had always been that change. And while the system was many times staying similar, a different voice in front of the room and a different voice in your helmet, certainly there's still changes there. So I think that's a positive, too, to build that rapport with Kevin.
A lot of people out there and even in this room,
I got you, Kevin.
Going to be the priority in that first round. What was your thought when Jordan Addison's game got announced at that spot?
Well, a good question. When you pick later, anything can happen. You can trade up, you can trade back, you can see how the draft processes, and so it's harder to say, I expect this to happen the later you pick, and I think we all see that happen even from like the third pick on. So, I felt like anything was possible when I kind of looked at our situation, and like I said, picking a little later, you kind of feel like you can rationalize a lot of different decisions and directions to go. Nobody knows the future, so you're still having to make educated guesses, but I'm excited to get him in here and see what he's got, and then whatever he's got, to build on it and to just get him working and get him comfortable and get everybody caught up to speed. And not just him, but our whole draft class. And most of this team is built up of guys who were brought in here, young players, and you got to get them up to speed fast. And then the better they can play and get caught up determines, how our team does and how far we go. The KJ Osbornes of the world, those guys who were fifth-round picks and now are critical pieces and have been, those guys become the core of your team.
The fact that there was no contract extension, do you view that as a judgment from them on you? Do you view it just as, wait and see? Or I'm just curious, how you took that when it finally became the reality.
I think in this league there should never be entitlement. You always got to go play, and teams can do whatever they want to do. That's their prerogative. So you just go to work, you do the best you can, and I'm, again, encouraged and excited because I do think I have a lot of good football ahead of me. So got to go out there and earn that. But I feel positive about the future looking forward. And, I go back to how this has kind of been a part of my story. So I'll go back even before, you probably know, Kevin, high school. Remember the Holland Sentinel, our paper in my hometown, asking me my senior year of high school. I'm going into my senior year with no scholarship offers. And there were schools looking at me, definitely. I knew I had a chance, but no scholarship offers. And I walked off the field the last game of my high school career, no scholarship offers. And so that whole season you get the question from the Holland Sentinel, how are you focused on that? How are you handling that? And I learned you got to focus on winning football games. And if you win football games and do your part and put your work in, the rest will take care of itself. That certainly happened in my high school career. Then you get to the end of college, the same thing happens my senior year, same kind of thought. How do you think about this season, but the future? And just go win football games for Michigan State, and good things will happen. That certainly played out. And then this is my fourth time in this league going into a season with free agency on the horizon. My fourth year after my rookie contract and the 2 years in Washington after that, and now this. So I would just say that to say it's more the norm than the exception. Yeah. I think the exception is that you have something penciled in for future years. Most of our locker room has no idea what's coming in 3 or 4 months, let alone 3 or 4 years or next year. So I feel like I'm one of the guys, if you will, we're all in this together, and that's the way this league works. And I think it's part of what makes this league great because everybody has an edge. Everybody's working. Everybody's got something to prove, and nobody can operate with entitlement or comfort and put in less than their best. And I think that's a great thing about our league.
So is it natural to think, or do you let yourself think this might be the last year here?
I don't think you go there. I just think it's healthiest to be present, to be focused on phase 2, Wednesday, and live right now in the moment. And again, when you do that and you just do it day after day, you get to next February and you say everything will work out, and it's best to just stay in the present to have March go the way you want it to go.
Kirk, you've talked about, I think last year at this time, saying I want to end my career in
Yeah.
Minnesota. The fact that you are now a year from free agency, a year from potentially having options, does that change the thinking there at all, or is that still your hope?
No, I want to be Minnesota. Yeah, that's kind of a no-brainer. So hopefully, we can earn the right, to do that. And I've always said that when I say I would like to be in Minnesota. There's a lot of things I'd like to have. You got to go earn it. So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
A couple more for Kirk. When you say you try to stay present, is that easy for you, given all the experience you've had in this type of situation, or is it just really difficult as a human being?
Well, I think when you read any books on, the mental part of playing sports, they always emphasize being present. And so whether it's, stuff off the field or even within a game, like we were just talking in the quarterback room, how the game is played one play at a time. And because there's so much you can't control at the quarterback position, the best mindset to have is to just think about going 1-0 each play. At that play, and then regardless of what happens, the next play, and just stay in this mini world of that play. And that's how you play your best. And I think the same is true of anything else that's thrown at you in this career, is to just stay really focused in the moment, in the here and now, how to be your best. And I think that's the way to go about it and have success in the big stuff.
Put your fingerprint on this organization. How do you identify what that means?
Can you rephrase the question? So you're saying
I'm saying,
put my fingerprint?
yeah, putting your fingerprint on this organization in view of who you are.
Oh, I see what you're asking.
That you play.
Yep.
And that
Yeah.
Thompson's the only one that's taking this team.
Yes.
to the Super Bowl,
Yes. Yes, I think it's all about winning football games at the quarterback position, and it kind of always has been, always will be, no matter where you are. So you can play at a high level, but you got to win. You got to win consistently, and so that's always what I'll be chasing and trying to help build. And I think that's the only thing that'll ever really, really matter. When you go back and look at something after the fact.
We'll wrap them, Don.
Talk about familiarity year two. How important for you, though, was it to get Garrett Bradbury?
Yeah, big deal. Yeah.
Relationship with center is important.
Yes, big deal, Don. There's so much conversation he and I have during the week of prep. There's so many times where I don't say something to him because I know how he's going to handle it. So that comfort level, I guess it saves me some time of having to go backwards. We can keep building forwards. So, and I think just like I would look back on my 5th year in the league and think how much better I've gotten over the years. The same for Garrett, same for a lot of these younger players. They're still young. They're still going to improve. And so there's also a lot of upside there to experience now moving forward.
Thanks, Kirk.
All right. Thanks, guys.